I recently came across the 2024-2025 budget presentation where the Minister of Finance, Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clark, who I will simply refer to as Nigel, painted a picture of prosperity and a booming Jamaican economy, one which I have never seen. In his rebuttal, the opposition leader, Mark Golding, who I will simply refer to as Mark, painted an abysmal picture of Jamaica under the JLP and how thriving we were under the PMP and how thriving we'll be under the PMP again. He painted a picture which I have never seen. I started to think, we can't trust these people. What can we trust? We can trust the numbers. So I decided to do my own research and my own presentation on what the numbers say about Jamaica since its independence in 1962. This is Jamaica and the numbers. Now, delving further into the politics, we see that after our so called independence in 1962, only two political parties have been in power: the People's National Party, the PMP, and the Jamaica Labour Party, the JLP. Even before our independence in 1962, Jamaica had what was known as Premier of Jamaica. So while the British were in charge of the country, the Jamaican authorities had some control over the affairs of the country. So Jamaican authorities either being the JLP or the People's National Party, the PMP. So between the 29th of April 1962 and the 6th of August 1962, Alexander Bustamante was the premier. Between 1959 and 1962, Norman Manley was the premier. Before he was called the premier of Jamaica, we had what was known as the chief minister, which performed roughly the same role. The, the British were in charge of the country, but the Jamaican authorities under the JLP or the PMP had some control over the country. So Alexander Bustamante was chief minister between 1953 and 1955. Norman Manley was chief minister between 1955 and 1959. Now, after our so-called independence in 1962, again, only the two political parties, the PMP and the JLP, have been in power, right? So we have the prime ministers over here: Alexander Bustamante, Donald Sangster, Hugh Shearer, Michael Manley, Edward Siaga, and so on. So we have color coded them. So green for the JLP, orange for the PMP, right? In this column, we have the year that each prime minister took office, and the year here, this column, we have the year each prime minister demitted office. We have the election years in this column, and we have the number of years under the PMP right here, and under the number of years under JLP right here, or under each prime minister, I'm sorry, right? So if we scroll down to the bottom, we see that since our independence in 1962, there have been about 22 years since our independence in 1962 until 2024, depending on which month you are in, right? So we see that the People's Nation from 1962 until 2024, the PMP has been in power for 31.4 of those years, and the Jamaica Labour Party has been in power for 30.24 of those years. So if we subtract 31.41, if we subtract 30.24 from 31.41, we see that the PMP has been in power 1.17 years greater than the JLP. If you found this video useful, please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel.